The third barrier held. That is the part that makes this story different from every other lava disaster you have heard. Bulldozers had pushed a 17-foot wall of compacted rock across the path of Kilauea's lava flow, and on January 28, 1960, that wall was holding. 50 feet of molten rock had stacked up behind it. The operators could see it from the ridge above Kapoho village. The flow had stopped. Then the school started burning, not from lava going over the wall. The pressure behind the barrier had shoved a 500-foot section of the volcanic hillside, anchoring the wall's north end completely out of position. The lava pushed through the gap beside the barrier, surfaced beyond it, and reached Kapoho School by mid-morning. The buildings were gone before noon. The wall itself never broke. This is the story of 6 barriers, 38 days, and dozens of bulldozers that fought Kilauea at a scale Hawaii had never attempted. Every barrier was eventually buried. But when we checked the original USGS research from 1962, we found something the popular version leaves out. Those barriers were never supposed to stop the lava, and they did not fail. 5 years earlier, in 1955, 5 bulldozers had pushed a barrier 1,000 feet long and 10 feet high to protect a cluster of homes called Iwasaki Camp on the same rift zone. That wall held the lava twice. 2 separate advances, 2 stops. Then in May, the volcano opened new vents half a mile away and buried the camp from a direction nobody had walled off. A second barrier near the Yamada coffee plantation bought days before it too was flanked. The walls worked, but the volcano just went around them. January 13th, 1960, 7:35 in the evening. A red glow appeared above the tree line 2,000 feet northwest of Kapoho village on the eastern tip of Hawaii's Big Island. Within 30 minutes, lava was fountaining along a half-mile crack in the earth. By the next morning, a wall of rough lava 20 feet thick had traveled 2 miles and reached the ocean. Hawaii had been a state for 5 months. The county had no eruption playbook. The man who got the call was E.F. Morrison, district engineer for the Hawaii State Highway Department. Morrison would direct every barrier built over the next 38 days for the Civil Defense Agency. The 299th Infantry deployed from Honolulu. A National Guard fire truck pumped thousands of gallons of water onto the creeping lava to try to cool it. An Army observation plane made hourly flights over the fissure and came back peppered with chunks of cinder thrown thousands of feet into the air. Morrison's plan was simple in concept and punishing in execution. Push rock barriers across the lava's path to slow its southward advance and buy time for 300 residents to get out. 6 barriers across nearly 3 miles, averaging 17 feet tall, built from 400,000 cubic yards of the island's own volcanic rock. But 32 billion gallons of lava does not negotiate with 17 feet of loose rock, and the flow was advancing at a pace that gave the operators hours, not days. If you want to see what happened when the lava outsmarted the third barrier by shoving a hillside out of the way, stay with us. Like and subscribe. It takes 2 seconds. The first barrier went up on January 17th. It was the only wall not paid for by the state. State Senator Richard Lyman, whose family owned the Warm Springs Resort directly in the path of the flow, financed it privately. His crews pushed a 1,500-foot dike, 5 to 10 feet high, across the approach to the resort. By 5 that afternoon, the lava had reached the wall. By 8:30 the same evening, it poured over the top. The barrier lasted less than 4 hours. Lyman told reporters his damages were already $2 million. Barrier 2 went up between 2 volcanic hills south of the main vent. Morrison's crews set it 15 to 20 feet high across the saddle between them. On January 23rd at 3:30 in the afternoon, a flow of rough lava 20 feet thick rolled straight over the top. The crews fell back to a third position. That third wall went up between the 23rd and the 24th. And this is where the story turns. The barrier held. For days, the lava stacked up behind it, rising to 50 feet against 17 feet of compacted volcanic rubble. From the ridge, it looked like the machines had finally won. They had not. The lava did not go over the wall. It did something nobody had planned for. The pressure shoved a 500-foot block of the cinder cone, anchoring the wall's northern end completely out of position. A loose volcanic hillside pushed sideways like a door on a broken hinge. The lava poured through the gap, surfaced beyond the barrier, and crept toward the school. Kapoho School was burning by mid-morning on January 28th. The buildings were gone before noon. The children had been evacuated days earlier. Nobody died. But the operators on the ridge watched the building collapse while their wall stood 17 feet tall and structurally intact behind it. That image is the one that defines the 1960 Kapoho eruption. A barrier that held, with everything behind it on fire. Morrison still had one wall in play. Barrier 4, a mile-long ridge wall protecting the beach lots and the Coast Guard station toward Cape Kumukahi, had been under construction since January 21st. By January 28th, lava breached it in 4 places. By the 29th, it was bypassed entirely. 2 smaller barriers went up in the final days. Both were overtopped. On February 19th, 38 days after the first fissure opened, the eruption stopped on its own. Before we get to what the original research actually says about those barriers, like and subscribe. Tell us in the comments where you are watching from. Here is what we found when we pulled the original paper. Gordon Macdonald, the United States Geological Survey volcanologist who spent 38 days documenting this eruption in real time, published his analysis in the Bulletin of Volcanology in 1962. His conclusion is not what the popular story suggests. Those 6 barriers were never designed to stop the lava. They were not diversion walls. Macdonald is explicit. They were dams, built to impound the flow and reduce how far south it could spread. And by that measure, they worked. Macdonald concluded that the southward spreading was sufficiently reduced to more than justify the construction of every single barrier. The equipment, the fuel, the 38 days of round-the-clock shifts, all justified. And there is the detail most documentaries skip entirely. The barriers were the only option because bombing was off the table. Senator Lyman, who owned the land the lava was crossing, refused to let the United States Army bomb his property. The military needed the landowner's permission to bomb, and Lyman refused. That left Morrison with bulldozers and water. When University of Hawaii researchers surveyed the evacuees during the eruption itself, 72% supported the barriers. Only 14% supported bombing. The people who lost their homes backed the machines. That survey sat in a filing cabinet for nearly 50 years before it was finally published in 2008. This is the kind of story that disappears if nobody watches it. Like and subscribe if you want more. 58 years later, in 2018, bulldozers were back on the same ground. The National Park Service signed an emergency agreement on May 30th to clear 7/10 of a mile of Chain of Craters Road as an evacuation route for nearby communities. That road was opened in 1965. It has been blocked by lava for 41 of its 61 years. Bulldozers clear it, and the volcano buries it again, over and over, for 6 decades. And while those operators were scraping hardened lava inside the park, Kilauea opened new fissures 3 miles away in Leilani Estates. Same rift zone, same magma system. Over the next 40 days, lava destroyed 716 homes, buried 30 miles of road, and covered nearly 14 square miles. Kapoho was hit again. The same village that disappeared in 1960 was buried a second time. On June 2nd, lava reached Green Lake, the largest natural freshwater lake in Hawaii. 2 acres of water, 200 feet deep, roughly 400 years old. It boiled away in a single night. And the land the lava crossed in 2018 still belongs to the Lachman family. Kapoho Land and Development Company. The same family that financed the first barrier in 1960 is still in litigation with Hawaii County over road access through their property. 65 years apart. Same volcano, same family, same fight over the same ground. But there is one structure from 1960 that the lava could not take. Joe Pestrella had been head keeper of the Cape Kumukahi Light since 1942. The easternmost lighthouse in all of Hawaii, a skeletal steel tower 125 feet tall at the farthest point of the Big Island. When the eruption started, Pestrella did not sit at his post and wait. He grabbed the Coast Guard truck, drove into the evacuation zone, and started hauling residents to safety in Pahoa. He had done this before. In 1955, the same volcano had threatened the same lighthouse, and Pestrella had stayed and helped. They gave him Civil Servant of the Year for it. He only left the lighthouse grounds when the lava began melting the gate to the compound. The flow destroyed his house. It burned the orchard he had planted over 22 years beside the light station. Then it reached the tower, 125 feet of open steel frame, standing in the direct path of the flow. The lava hit the base, split into 2 streams, flowed around both sides, and poured into the Pacific. The lighthouse survived. Whether Morrison's mile-long ridge wall diverted enough lava to save it, whether the natural topography of the Cape split the flow, or whether something else was at work depends on who you ask. Macdonald credits the barrier. Locals credit the mountain. Pestrella transferred to Makapu Point on Oahu. He retired in 1963 as the last civilian lighthouse keeper in the Hawaiian Islands. In his 1962 paper, Macdonald set aside his scientific tone for one paragraph. He wrote that the bulldozer operators deserved recognition for driving themselves and their machines at high speed under constant pressure, working in darkness over rough and dangerous ground, enduring heat that was nearly unbearable at the edge of active flows, and at times pushing red-hot lava with their blades. Nobody recorded their names. The machines they ran are not identified by make or model in any surviving document. We know what they built. We just do not know who they were. Like and subscribe. And tell us in the comments, have you ever worked a job where the ground itself was fighting you? We want to hear that story.